To the north lay Niflheim, the realm of endless ice and mist. And guarding its border stood Surt, the fire giant, wielding a flaming sword brighter. This searing heat met the venomous ice flowing from Niflheim. Fire met frost in the heart of Ginnungagap. Where they met, the ice began to thaw and drip. And in those drops, stirred by the heat, life quickened.
From the melting venom ice arose the first being, Ymir.
He was not a god, nor truly evil, but a being of raw, untamed, primordial power, born of elemental chaos. Her udders produced 4 rivers of milk, and from this nourishing flood, the giant Ymir drew his sustenance. And one of his legs coupled with the other leg, and from them sprang forth a son with 6 heads. The Jotnar race began. But what did the great cow Audhumla eat? She found sustenance in the salty rime ice blocks scattered through the void.
She began to lick one great block of salty ice. And as she licked, on the evening of the first day, a man's hair appeared from the ice.
On the second day, as she licked, the man's head was uncovered.
Buri, progenitor of the Aesir.
Borr grew strong and sought a wife among the daughters of the giants, the ancient enemies. He took for his wife Bestla, daughter of the giant Bolthorn. From this union, the future rulers of the cosmos would be born.
Bestla bore Borr 3 sons. The first and eldest was Odin.
The second son is Vili. He embodies conscious will and determination.
These 3 brothers, Odin, Vili, and Ve,
they looked upon the giant Ymir, and upon his crude, chaotic, and rapidly multiplying frost giant children. They saw only chaos, endless cold and brute force. Ymir's very existence.
A deep animosity grew between the sons of Borr and the ancient giant.
To shape a world, to bring order from chaos, Ymir, the first giant, must die.
You dare challenge me, mere mortals?
You underestimate us, Ymir.
But the brothers possessed a divine power, focused will that the chaotic giant lacked. A terrible battle ensued.
Odin's cunning, Vilin's will, Ve's sanctity pitted against the raw, untamed might of the first being. After a cosmic struggle that shook the foundations of the void, the 3 brothers prevailed. They brought the great Ymir down.
And together, they slew him. Ymir, the first life.
And from his countless wounds poured forth an immense, unimaginable deluge of blood. They floated away on the grim flood, eventually reaching a new land, Jotunheim, where they became the ancestors of all future giants.
Thus, the ancient enemies of Asgard. With Ymir dead and the giants scattered, the three brothers stood before the colossal corpse.
From this death, they decided they would build a world. From the body of chaos, they would forge order.
Together, Odin, Vili, and Ve summoned their divine strength and began the immense task of creation.
They lifted the vast corpse and carried it into the very center of Ginnungagap.
There, they laid it down, the raw material from which the 9 worlds would be crafted.
The age of primordial chaos was ending. Odin looked upon the corpse, then at his brothers. Their greatest work lay before them. The sheer scale was unimaginable. A body. They raised their divine hands, ready to shape flesh into earth, blood.
From the death of the first giant, the life of the cosmos would spring forth. The stage was set for the creation of Midgard, the realm of humans, and Asgard. The battle won, the chaos slain, the sons of Borr began their greatest work. From Ymir's immense flesh, they fashioned the earth, molding the dark soul. This became Midgard, the middle enclosure, the realm destined for humankind. Next, from the vast ocean of Ymir's blood and sweat, they formed the great seas and deep oceans. They set this great water around the edges of the land, an endless, encircling ocean teeming with potential.
The brothers take Ymir's colossal, unbroken bones. Then, from Ymir's colossal, unbroken...
These they piled high to form the mountains, the stony spine of the new earth, scraping against the void, his teeth, and those bones that were broken in the great battle. These they scattered across the land, becoming the rocks, the stones, the pebbles beneath men's feet.
From the giant's coarse, abundant hair.
They grew the trees, the forests dense and dark, the grasses covering the plains, all the green growing things of the world.
Now for the sky above. The brothers took Ymir's vast, empty skull. Working together, they lifted the immense skull and set it high above the earth, forming the great blue vault of the heavens. And to hold up this skull sky, they appointed 4 dwarves, one at each corner, north, south, east, and west.
We bear the weight of the firmament upon our shoulders.
But what of Ymir's brains? Odin gathered the scattered grey matter.
The gods looked upon Midgard, the green earth. It was fair, but vulnerable to the giants.
They take the long, thick eyebrows of Ymir. So, from Ymir's great, bushy eyebrows,
Slivering. They fashioned a mighty defensive wall, encircling the central lands, protecting them from the savage Jotnar.
But life stirred even in Ymir's decay. By the gods' decree, these humble creatures were granted intelligence and the shape of... They were destined to dwell deep within the earth and stones, becoming master craftsmen.
They threw these sparks high up into the dome of the sky, where they become the fixed stars, twinkling brightly.
Sol's chariot was pulled by two swift steeds, Arvakr and Alsvidr.
Mani guided the moon's chariot, pulled by the horse Alsvidr, determining the waxing and waning of the months.
But even here, danger lurked. Two monstrous wolves.
Skoll, the wolf who forever chases the sun, seeking to swallow her light.
And Hati, Hrothvitnir's son, who races before the sun, forever pursuing the moon. This eternal chase drives the sun and moon across the sky and holds.
She rides her horse Rimfaxi across the sky each
Night gave birth to a son, Dagger, meaning day. He was bright and fair, like his father, the god of dawn.
There, washed up by the waves, they found two lifeless logs, driftwood from two different trees, one ash, one elm.
They were formless, spiritless, senseless, colorless.
First, Odin, the All-Father, breathed into them Und spirit.
The second brother, Vili, granted them Orther, consciousness, mind.
And from the lifeless wood arose the first man and the first woman, imbued with divine.
The man they named Ask, meaning ash tree. The woman they named Embla, meaning elm tree, or perhaps vine.
They stood, blinking in the new light, the progenitors of the entire human race.
The gods gave them Midgard, the middle enclosure, protected by the Great Wall, as their home. Having established Midgard for humankind, the gods then turned to creating their own celestial stronghold. High above Midgard, at the very center of the universe, they built Asgard, the home of the Aesir gods.
And greatest of all, Valhalla, the Hall of the Slain. Its
And to link their heavenly realm to the world of men below, they constructed a bridge of breathtaking beauty.
the shimmering rainbow bridge, forged
At the bridge's end in Asgard, they built the fortress Himinbjorg, Heaven's Mountains. And there they stationed their ever-vigilant watchman, Heimdall, born of 9 mothers, needing less sleep than a bird. His hearing could detect grass growing. His sight could pierce the horizon. He guarded Asgard day and night against the return of the giants.
And holding all this new creation together, standing at the very center of the cosmos, was the great World Tree Yggdrasil.
The immense ash tree, its roots anchoring the realms, its branches sheltering all existence. The third route is over Niflheim, near the spring Fergelmir, where the dragon Nidhogg gnaws eternally at the roots. Creatures dwelled within its branches, an eagle at the top, the squirrel Ratatoskr carrying gossip, deer nibbling the leaves, the dragon below.
The cosmos was complete. Order had been forged from chaos.
The gods ruled from Asgard. Mankind lived in Midgard. The giants plotted in Jotunheim. Order does not arise peacefully, but through violence. The first act of the gods is not creation, but slaying the progenitor.
Destruction precedes creation. The death of the old, chaotic world is necessary. The world itself is formed from the body of the defeated enemy.
From these humble forms, life shall spring forth.
We must tend to this world.
Even the gods are subject to a higher power, the Norns, who weave the threads of fate for all beings.
This complex, often brutal creation story sets the stage for all the sagas to come.
totul spalene vămii de jibbu, na kom god viloi. Раньше десятого и деродюдов будет.